Good afternoon, grade ninth. I hope you're all fine and well this afternoon. You have done the assessment yesterday, although I know there was quite a few hiccups with your one, and we are going to look at the marking of it today as well. All right, so I hope you have your assessment or a copy of your answers with you and a pen. And then what we're going to do is you're going to mark it, and then you're going to get the total, and then you're going to send that total to me in the chat box at the end of the lesson. And then I'm also going to get it, and then I will check to see if you have marked correctly or not at the end of the day. Right, so let's see. Oh, sorry guys, I'm very rude today. Okay, before we're going to start marking, let's just greet each other, hey? Sorry about that. Right, so let's continue doing the assessment marking, starting with question 1 for 12 marks. And I said there, read the case study below and answer the question that follows. Now, I know that was one of the hiccups in the question paper. What was done is that I was sending everything off, like you see it now in front of you, okay? But then there was a technical guy that have made some changes and so on. And according to Mrs. Staley, the head, she said that there was not enough space to put the question 1 or everything in for that, okay? So I want you guys to do question 1 now with me, okay? We will get to the questions now. Let's just first read through the case study. So remember what I said, you must have a pen and paper ready, and then you're going to do question 1, you're going to do right now. And please, as we go along in the lesson today, if you have any questions or if you are uncertain about something, please ask. All right. Okay, let's go through the case study. Farmer Brown farms with chickens. He employs 15 workers to help him on the farm. They feed the chickens and give them water. Farmer Brown makes use of Tabo's transport to transport his chickens to the abattoir where they are slaughtered. The abattoir personnel slaughter and clean the chickens before they are sent to the processing plant. At the processing plant, the chickens are washed and cut into pieces. The chickens go through an automated chicken packaging machine where the pieces are individually quick frozen before they are packed in plastic bags and sealed in boxes. The boxes of chicken are transported to the supermarkets in a refrigerated truck. The supermarket personnel unpack the chicken bags into freezers and then they are priced. The supermarket employs packers, cashiers, and a manager. Right, and on the next slide, then the questions is going to follow. What I will do is the following. I'm first going to the next slide so we can look at the questions, and then I will come back to this slide. So if you need to find the answers here. All right, so let's go to the next slide. Okay, yeah, sorry, now the answers is actually here. All right. Okay, I've got the questions. I'm just going to ask you the questions and you write it down on the piece of paper, your answers. All right, so the first question will be, name the 4 production factors. Name the 4 production factors. So it will be like question 1.1, name the 4 production factors. Name the 4 production factors. After that, so the next question, it will then be question 1.2. Mention an example of each of those production factors. All right, so you have mentioned now the 4 production factors. Now the next question is you need to mention an example of each of those 4 production factors. So I'm just going to repeat so far regarding question 1. 1.1 is where you needed to mention the 4 production factors. 1.2 is where you need to give an example of each of those 4 production factors. And then the third question, so it's now 1.3, mention the remuneration of each of the 4 production factors, the remuneration of the 4 production factors. Just again, I will repeat the question 1 questions. So 1.1, mention the 4 production factors. 1.2, mention an example of each of the 4 production factors. And 1.3, what is the remuneration of the production factors? You guys can just maybe indicate to me in the box if you're done with that before we're going to mark that. All right, I think most of you are done on that one. So let's see what the answers is. Right, now you guys need to listen so you can know how you need to give the marks. All right, so let's start with 1.1. This is where you need to identify the 4 production factors from the case study, and that is going to be land, labor, capital, and entrepreneurship. 4 marks there, so each one is counting 1 mark. Land, or you could have said the natural resources as well, labor, capital, entrepreneurship for 4 marks. Then with 1.2, give an example for each production factor. So with land or natural resources from the case study, it was with chickens, water, fuel. For labor, it was the workers, the packers, the cashiers, the manager. For capital, it was you could have set money there, or you could have used the assets of packaging machine, freezers, truck. And entrepreneurship, supermarket owner coming up with the idea. So anything with entrepreneurship, you could have said to be creative or to get coming up with an idea. As I said, if you're uncertain about your answer, rather ask in the box for me. Okay, so with 1.2, another 4 marks there. Okay, so it's one example with each of the production factors. So you must give one example with land, one example with labor, capital, and entrepreneurship to get the 4 marks. So just again, 1.1 was 4 marks, 1.2 is 4 marks, and 1.3 will also be 4 marks. What is the remuneration of each production factor? There's nothing else what you see there in front of you, okay? So with land or natural resources, it's going to be rent. Labor is wages or salaries. Capital interest. And entrepreneurship profit. 4 marks there. So I'm just quickly going to repeat. 1.1 is where you needed to mention the 4 production factors for 4 marks. 1.2, you need to give an example with each of the production factors for 4 marks. 1.3, you need to give the remuneration of each one for 4 marks. So the whole question 1 is counting 12 marks. I'm just going to stick a few seconds on the slide so everyone can finish marking. Okay, Tandu, question, ma'am, instead of land, I wrote buildings. Am I wrong? That's a difficult one because it's actually, sorry, you know what? Don't, rather mark it wrong because it's either land, okay, or you could have said natural resources. You are thinking of the account land and buildings, all right, but that is actually something else. All right, I'm going to move on now to the next question. So if you need still answers, then you must tell me if I need to get back. So we're going to move now to question 2, that is counting 10 marks. All right, let me work through the questions. That one you should have done. There was no problem really with question 2. What is a person's net worth for 1 mark? A person's net worth is the total of all his or her assets less his or her debts. If you just maybe write the formula there for me, total assets minus total liabilities, perfectly 1 mark there as well. So as long with 2.1, as long as you said something about total assets minus total debt of total liabilities, then you get your mark. 2.2, how is the net worth of a business calculated for 1 mark? The net worth of the business is the assets of the business minus the liability. So almost it is the same answer actually with 2.2 and 2.1. Okay, so the net worth is the assets and the liabilities that's involved. And how do you calculate it? By taking the total assets minus the total liabilities. So 2.2, 1 mark there. 2.3, if a person has assets to the value of 2 million and debts to the value of 2 million, is the person wealthy or not? Okay, so think for yourself, if the assets is 2 million and the debts or the liabilities is 2 million, what is that telling you for 1 more? Okay, then the person is not wealthy because his or her net worth is 0. The assets are just enough to cover the debts. Okay, so 2.3 for 1 more. If you have said something that your assets and liabilities is equal to each other, so the net worth is 0, or you have said that the person is not wealthy or the business is not doing good, then you can give yourself the 1 mark there. 2.4, what is the accounting equation for 3 marks? All right, assets equals owner's equity plus liabilities. Assets equals owner's equity plus liabilities. So if you have it like that, then you can give yourself the 3 marks there. If you're uncertain about that one, please rather ask. 2.5, what financial statements do you know of that are used in a business? Name any 2 for 2 marks. So you need to mention 2 to get the 2 marks. So you could have said either income statement, balance sheet, cash flow statement, statement of shareholders' equity. But I think the 2 that you might know by now is the income statement and the balance sheet. And then 2.6, how do you calculate profit for 2 marks? So you need to give me the formula there, and that is if you take your total income minus your total expenses, that will give you your profit. So total income minus total expenses give you profit for 2 marks. So if you've just said income minus expenses, of course, then it's still correct, 2 marks there. All right, so I'm going to stick a few seconds on this slide so you can just finish up marking regarding question 2. Remember what I said, if you have a question or you're uncertain, put it in the box. So I didn't see it. I think somebody was raising their hand, but I couldn't see who it was. It was too quick. So if you have a question, just put it in the box, eh? Okay. Somebody said regarding the question of 2.6, how to calculate, you said cost price minus selling price. Now, my friend, I just want to tell you, because cost price is the smaller one. Cost price is smaller than the selling price. So what you're telling me is, for instance, 5 minus 10 rand. That's what you're actually telling me. Do you think you're going to make a profit? No. So if you have set selling price minus cost price, but it must be in that order, then I might give you the mark there. But you cannot tell me cost price minus selling price, because then you're going to make a loss, I promise you. Okay, so be careful in which order you have written that, okay? So remember, so far we have question 1 that was 12 marks in total, and so far we're having question 2 that is in total 10 marks. Right, I'm going to move on now. Question 3, another 10 marks. Now, I know this was also a pain because I think I've put the case study there, but not the question. So I'm very sorry. I don't know what was happening there, but you're going to do it then right now. Okay, so let's go through. They say analyze the information below and extract and list 10 functions of a business plan. 10 functions of a business plan. But let's first read through the case study. They say a business often compiles a business plan when it needs to apply for a business loan. This is a mistake. You do indeed need a business plan when you apply for a loan, but the business plan is the lifeblood of your business. It is a blueprint according to which you run and expand your business. Many people think a business plan is only necessary when you plan and start up a new business. But a business plan is vital for running a successful business. It helps you to plan ahead and to allocate your resources appropriately. It helps you to prepare for threats and opportunities. It helps you to optimize growth and profit. You cannot implement proper business expansion plans without using your business plan as a guide. Okay, so at the top, it is saying that little case study or that information that you see in front of you, okay, you need to list for me the 10 functions of a business plan. The 10 functions of a business plan. So I'm not going to the next slide, otherwise you're going to see the answers. So you need to write down, I will give you a few minutes for this, to write down the 10 functions of a business plan for 10 marks. So you need to mention 10 things. So right, so I'm going to give you a few minutes. I'm just still going to give you a few seconds so you can finish up with question 3 for 10 marks. 10 things that you need to mention. It is the 10 functions of a business plan. Right, I'm going to show you the answers, so you need to mark now. Remember, I said 10 things you need to mention. So each one is counting a mark, so you must have 10 things there. So the 10 functions of a business plan is you need to plan for a new business plan. You need to apply for a loan. You need to run your business. You want to expand your business, planning ahead, allocating resources appropriately, preparing for threats, preparing for opportunities, optimizing growth, and optimizing profit. Right. If you didn't say exactly what is standing there, but you can see, okay, that's plus minus what you have said is standing there, then you can give yourself the mark. And again, if you are uncertain, rather ask. Okay. You will see most of these things, actually the keywords will look familiar because it was taken out from the case study. In the case study, they've talked about threats and opportunities. They've talked about growth and profit. They've talked about expanding, applying for a loan, planning a business. So all these things is coming from the case study. But as I said, look at it. So I'm going to stick now a few seconds on this slide so you can mark it out of 10. If you are done with that, I just want to check, I think that was the last question. Yeah. If you are done with that, then you can add up everything to get a final total. So let's just recap. Question 1 was out of 12 marks. Question 2 was 10 marks, and question 3 is 10 marks. So that gives you a total out of 32. Okay, so first finish off question 3, and then if you're done, you can add up everything with a total out of 32. So finish up marking question 3. If you're done, add it up, get the whole total out of 32, and then please put it in the chat box for me, how much you got. Tanya, thank you. I've already received yours, and you can send it privately on the chat box for me. There are 7 of you attending the class. I have received 3 marks so far. So the rest of you, you must please put it in the chat box. The school said if you didn't submit yesterday's assessment in time, or like now, for instance, you're not going to send your marks to me, then we can subtract 20%. So I don't want to do that, guys. So please, when you're finished and you have your total out of 32, please send it to me in the chat box. As I said, you can send it privately to me. I'm still waiting for some marks, please. Right, otherwise, people, we are actually done for today. So it was done sweet and short, but the school requested that after the day after you have done the assessment, that we must do the marking or going through with you guys with it so you can see where your mistakes is. So that is what we have done then for today. So tomorrow we're going to continue with normal lesson like we always do. Right, is there any questions, anything that you want to ask about the assessment, about the answers, anything? It is out of, I see there's a question, it is out of 32, 32. And I still need your mark there, Tandi. Okay, I still need to mark Tandi before you can say goodbye. Otherwise, you might just get a 0. Right, people, otherwise I'm going to end off now. I will still keep my chat box open for a few seconds to check if there's marks coming through. But otherwise, as I said, we are done then for today. Thank you very much, guys. And then we will talk tomorrow again. All right. Have a wonderful evening. Goodbye.